evening. We'll call the meeting to order in accordance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-4-80E, South Carolina Code 1987 as amended. All the media in the immediate area have been notified of the date, time, and location and agenda of the meeting. We'll have our prayer by Mr. Govan, followed by the pledge with Mr. Jeffords.
Let's bow our heads. Father, we come to you as humble as we know how. We ask God that you will direct and guide us as we try to conduct the business of this county, schools, as we try to do what is in the best interest of our children and the citizens of Darlington County. We ask that upon the conclusion of this meeting, that you will allow us to have traveling mercies as we return back to our respective homes. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll take a motion to approve the agenda. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have any citizens' comment? No citizens' comments tonight. We'll move on to our honors, awards, and recognitions, and we'll start off. This month is School Board Recognition Month. And as a part of the School Board Recognition Month, the School Board Association has provided a poster of ethical principles to all of our school districts. School Board Association requests that we will all share this with all of our principals with the board and have the board members, we will sign that and get a picture with that poster. We'll do that in between our executive session and the regular meeting. On to our service awards.
All right, and so we also, through the School Boards Association, would like to recognize one of our very own board members for his years of service on the board. And this year, the award recognition goes to Mr. Charles Govan for 25 years of service on the Darlington County School Board. So, Mr. Govan, you'll take a picture and let's get your pen.
Why don't you, Charles, why don't you stay up? We'll next move on to our 2026 Service Award, and we have Mr. Tim Rhodes, who is the South Carolina State School Board Association member. Mr. Rhodes, y'all want to stay up there? We'll move on to our Champions of Public Service.
Good evening. I am Tim Rhodes. I am the current president of the South Carolina School Board Association, and I am chairman of the Abbeville County School Board of Trustees. To Board Chair Wanda Hassler, members of the Darlington County School Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Matthew Ferguson, thank you for this opportunity to join you this evening on behalf of the South Carolina School Board Association. It is my pleasure to be here with y'all tonight, especially present a meaningful award that we're going to give tonight, alongside with our immediate past president, Mr. Charles Govan. At this time, I'd like to invite Chairperson Hassler and Superintendent Ferguson to join us down front to assist with tonight's recognition. We are here this evening to honor a remarkable community partner, North Industrial Machine. Will representatives from North Industrial Machines please come forward? Yes, sir.
I should have got the right memo. We want you to say that. That's right.
Collaboration with Darlington County School District is a model of dedication to student success. Partnerships like your example emphasize the possibility with local industries and public education work together for the betterment of our children and our communities. It is for this reason that the South Carolina School Board Association is proud to present you with this Champions of Public Education Award. The award honors businesses, organizations, and individuals who make significant contributions in support of public education, and your efforts have stood out among the very best. North Industrial Machine of Hartsville has set a high standard for what it means to be a true partner of education. Your commitment to Darlington County School Districts and the Darlington County Institute of Technology is both deep and far-reaching. From donating state-of-the-art equipment and supporting students' competitions to leading regional workforce readiness initiatives and prepare our students for real-world careers. The award is based on 3 key pillars: leads, advances, and inspires. North Industrial fulfills each one of these fully. Leads. North Industrial has taken initiatives to demonstrate the leadership in several key programs that connect classrooms to career pathways. Key to career programs. You played a pivotal role in launching this initiative by recruiting major local employers like Sonico, expanding internships and paid work opportunities for each student. Advisory committees. President Danny Johnson Jr. and his team actively serve on the DCIT Advisory Committee, helping to shape curriculum aligned with current industrial standards. Community advocacy. By speaking at public forums such as the Darlington County Progress Board, you've elevated public understandings of education as a community investment. Advances. Support for improved schools. Your investment in education is tangible and lasting. You donated modern equipment and professional grade toolkits to DCIT, helping prepare students in welding, carpentry, and real-world success. Your support for alert, gifted, and talented programs has expanded STEM access to elementary students as well. Sponsorship of competitions, factory tours, and career days, involvement continues to bridge that gap between our education and employment. What have you done to inspire? Inspiring others to support public education. What perhaps most powerful is how your example encourages others to demonstrate what corporate citizenship looks like. By hiring interns, interviewing graduates, you show students that their skills matter and that their futures are bright. Your visible hands-on engagement reinforces the messages that education is not only a personal benefit, but a public good, vital to both democracy and economic vitality. In summary, let me say clearly, North Industrial leads with vision, advances education outcomes, and inspires both students and fellow business people to engage. You've built a partnership that not only improving schools, but also building strong communities. And for that, we thank you. On behalf of the South Carolina School Board Association, congratulations, and thank you for being a true champion for public education.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
No, thank you, guys. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks again for thanks for making the presentation. Thank you so much. I think we're back up with some more awards. We've got some student awards. We got a couple student awards.
Dr. Nichols is next to introduce Max.
Girls State Strength Champion.
All right, tonight we are going to recognize Peyton Averett, who is an 8th grade student at Hartsville Middle School. She has been selected as a Maxwell Leadership Student Ambassador. This distinction is especially significant as Peyton is a part of the first cohort of student ambassadors in South Carolina. She was selected from more than 300 nominees and 100 applicants, a testimony to her character, leadership abilities, and commitment to excellence. The Maxwell Leadership Student Ambassador Program seeks to engage, equip, and empower student leaders to solve problems, serve others, and create positive change within their communities. We would like to recognize Peyton at this time.
Mr. Schuler?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eddie Schuler. I'm Executive Director for Administration and Operations. I have the honor to recognize some tremendous athletes that we have here in our district. I'm proud to share that we have representation from each of our high schools. The first recognition that we want to present goes to Mariah Black from Hartsville High School. She won the South Carolina High School Strength Coaches Association's 2025 Girls State Strength Championship. She represented the JV division. This time we ask that she comes up and be recognized. Congratulations. This time I want to recognize our 2025 Touchstone Energy North-South All-Star team members. We have a committee of coaches that select some of our awesome players within the state to represent the North and South team in a football game in December. First, we want to recognize from Darlington High School, Orion Small. Principal is Ms. Gerke, Coach Johnson, and Coach Norris is the AD. If you could come up and take a picture with our superintendent and our board chair.
He's a wrestling match tonight. So, and I do want to give credit where credit is due. He's also a mayor student. So.
All right. Next, we have two athletes from Hartsville High School that represent the North-South All-Stars. First, we have Aiden Starnes, Principal Lewis, Coach Calabrese, and Coach Booth as the athletic director. If you could come up and be recognized at this time. We also have a second member, Mr. Christopher Price from Hartsville High School. Come up as well. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Good seeing a little bit. Thank you.
Congratulations. Good job. All right. Next, we have from Lamar High School, Zori Pierce. Coach Bowen and Coach Burgess is the athletic director. Congratulations. Next, we will have recognition for our all-state football selections. And once again, all schools have been represented. At this time, the 2025 Class A 1A All-State Football Team member, Zori Pierce, come back up from our high school. Once again, Principal Lennar, Coach Boyd, and Coach Burgess, staff of the board. All right, for Hartsville High School, we have a number, but then we ask that you come up to be recognized. Ardarion Cranford, Kylie Miller, Dorian Outlaw Knowles, and Christopher Price. And forgive me, one more, Aiden Starnes, come on up. Principal Mr. Lewis, Coach Calabrese, and the AD is Coach Blue.
Right? Ready? Thank you.
And our last recognition for All-State Football, I think we were notified that he is currently at a wrestling match, but we want to recognize Ariane Small again for the All-State Football team for Darlington High School / Mayo High School. All right, my final recognition for this evening is for our top schools for attendance achievement. So in November, we recognized our schools. And in November, we talked to the principals and we decided that we were going to make a shift in how we evaluated it. So we split them up into 3 groups to make it more competitive. And I will share that everyone has responded. So our first group is the division of schools that have less than 400 students. I must share that I spoke with all of them, and every school is working extremely hard, but the ones that are being recognized tonight, they decided they were going to bring their team, social workers, student data managers, attendance clerk, so they all could be recognized. Our first award recipient goes out to Carolina Elementary. I will share that they have been recognized since October, and they already have the trophy, so their students did not want to bring the trophy back here. So they will remain at Carolina Elementary. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next division comes from the group that is less than 700, more than 400, and that school is none other than Lamar Spalding Elementary. Principal Geneva Williams. All right, our last division is schools that have students enrollment of 700 plus. And the winners for the first time this year, it's none other than Hartsfield Middle School. Dr. Katrina James is the principal. And that's her team with her. And we decided in November that we were going to add another award for most improved. And we must share, and I'm sure if you are tuned into Facebook, that this school has been working extremely hard with different incentives, initiatives going on with the school. So we're extremely proud to recognize most improved Lamar High School.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This concludes my portion of recognitions. Thank you.
Consent items, we have our, we get a approval of the minutes for December 8th. Oh, yeah, sorry. If you got anybody, any of our students or athletes or anyone here that they want to leave now, we'll pause for a second and let you guys step out. You're welcome to stay, but if you would like to leave to go catch some extra studying in, I'm sure. Panthers lost in the last 2 seconds. Now I'll take a motion to approve our December minutes.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Our next board work session will be Monday, January 26th at 6 p.m. here in the training room at the Darlington County Administrative Buildings. And our next regular board meeting will be February the 9th, also at 6 p.m. here in the administrative offices in this training room. Policy items. We have policy DKC up for first reading for revision. Can I take a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions about the change? Okay, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our organizational chart. Dr. Ferguson, you want to review that with the board?
Yes, ma'am. So this organizational chart, as you know, through policy, has to be approved by the board, and there are a few changes on here. The main one being the repurposing of the Chief Technology Officer position. We currently have someone serving as a director in that position, doing a fantastic job. And so one of the recommendations is to move technology under Mr. Schuler's wing in the operations division at the district office, and then to repurpose that position on SLT to become a chief administrative officer. And so that person would be responsible for overseeing principals, for coaching our principals, because right now principals report directly to the superintendent. And then that position would also be responsible for student discipline and for attendance. And so that would be a repurposed senior leadership team position, more on the administrative side, more in student discipline and attendance, and it would be the person directly responsible in the reporting structure for principals. It would not create a new position, it would be the repurposing of that Chief Technology Officer position for that purpose. What we are also working on this year is that within our CIA department, under Dr. Nichols' department, there is a director of secondary and there is a director of elementary, and on that curriculum side, there are coaches who are dedicated to technology, and so we are not taking our eyes off of instructional technology. We are just placing those coaches directly with the Chief Academic Officer and then pulling out that operational side to make sure that it aligns to our operational department. Another move from that is the move of food services. We are proposing that currently food services reports to our Chief Finance Officer, and so as we think about what are the operational functions of the district, that's probably not in finance where food service would naturally live, and so moving food service over to the Chief Operations Officer to Mr. Schuler's division.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's currently performing the duties of the repurposed position?
There isn't anyone.
No one?
No, ma'am.
Well, two things. One, what happens to the technology position as it is now? And secondly, I'm a visual person, so I'm assuming this is the first reading.
Yes, sir.
I would ask that, I would like to have a copy so I can visually see it before we finally approve it.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure you get that. And what we currently are doing is Mr. Holtze is serving as the Director of Technology, and so he is serving that function, and that there is nobody in that chief technology officer position. That was vacated right before I came, and I have not replaced that position. And so if this were approved, we would post for that position and hire in the spring to be able to have someone in place by the beginning of next school year.
Any other questions for Dr. Ferguson?
So you would have to hire somebody to fill this new repurposed role,
Yes, ma'am, I would.
just like you would have had to hire somebody.
For the CTO position. Yes, ma'am.
I guess my real concern though is then who will be responsible for technology?
So on the operational side, it would be the Director of Technology, which Mr. Holtze is currently serving as, and that would report up to the Chief Operation Officer, who is Mr. Schuler. And on the instructional side, Dr. Nichols would be responsible for instructional technology. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Kind of got a motion, we have a motion and a second. Now call for the vote. All in favor? Anyone in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Budget reports.
And while y'all are working on that, let's go ahead and key up the auditors. Who owns that?
It was attached to.
Our normal budget report for November is before you. There's nothing unusual about it. I've got the comparative budget to actual. Our revenues start really rolling in December and January. Our auditor is going to bring up his presentation. I know everyone got a copy of the audit electronically, but if you have any questions, either Jimmy or I can address them. But did anyone have any questions about the monthly budget report? We are happy to report that the audit was completed and finished on time, and I'm going to turn it over to him and let him do his presentation, but I'll stay up here to answer any questions if they should arise.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I just gotta see if I can share my screen. Okay. All right, so I am presenting the audit results for the June 30th, 2025 year-end audit for the Darlington County School District. First, I'll go over some financial highlights for the year-end, and then an executive summary of the audit results. Then we'll talk about internal control over financial reporting as part of the government auditing standards. And lastly, the single audit results and the yellow book report. So financial highlights. For the year ended June 30th, 2025, the district ended with an unassigned general fund balance of $39.6 million. And for the year ended, the general fund balance increased by $4.5 million. Actual general fund revenues exceeded budgeted amounts by $6.4 million, and the actual expenditures exceeded budgeted amounts by $1.8 million. The excess expenditures over budget is related to board-approved holiday and retention bonuses, which are not included in the budget, and this is a recurrence every year. So no surprise there. Now for the results of the audit. We have completed our audit and issued December 1st, 2025 for the year ended June 30th. And we conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards in the United States of America. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, business type activities, and each major fund of the district. So in simple terms, basically, we're giving an unmodified opinion, which is the opinion that you're looking for to get out of the audit. The financial statements were found to be materially correct and in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. As part of the audit, management and the auditor have responsibilities. It's important to note that management is responsible for the financial statements, their management statements, and they're responsible for preparing them and making sure that there are internal controls in place to prevent any fraud or error within those statements and maintaining those internal controls throughout the year. The auditor's responsibility are to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. And when we perform an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, we are obtaining reasonable, not absolute assurance. And the auditor's responsibilities are to exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We identify and assess risk of material misstatement and perform an analysis of internal controls in place to design audit procedures and to decide what we're going to be testing, the material balances of the financial statements. And we evaluate the accounting policies used and the reasonableness of any significant accounting estimates, which I'll talk about on the next slide. And lastly, we conclude whether there are any circumstances that raise substantial doubt about the district's ability to continue as a going concern, which we did not have. All right, so some required communications. We reviewed the district's significant accounting policies and practices and concluded that they were appropriate and complied with generally accepted accounting standards and were consistently applied throughout the year. There is a summary of the district's accounting policies disclosed in the footnotes of the financial statements as footnote 3H. Furthermore, we're required to communicate any new accounting standards that were implemented in the current year. So for the year end June 30th, 2025, GASB number 101, which relates to compensated absences reporting, was applicable for the district. As a result, the district included sick leave as part of their liability at year end, and we had to restate that position to implement the new standard as of the earliest year presented, which was July 1st, 2024, and that increased the liability, the beginning balance, by 11.2 million, and restated net position. So you'll see that within the statements. That's why you're seeing a restatement of net position. There were no other changes to accounting policies and practices. And we are also required to communicate any significant estimates that management uses within the statements. Those are listed to the right of this slide and include the allowance for doubtful accounts, on accounts receivable, depreciation expense, and the useful lives of fixed assets, the net pension and other post-employment benefits liability, and the deferred tax revenues. Management did not make any significant changes to the process or significant assumptions used to develop the accounting estimates in the year under review. All right, next, as part of our communication to governance, we communicate any corrected and uncorrected misstatements. So we're pleased to report there are no corrected misstatements in the financial statements. However, we did have one uncorrected misstatement, which means it didn't rise to the level of materiality. It was not reported in the financial statements. It's just a communication related to the accrued state retirement liability. So that is included on this slide. Next, internal control over financial reporting. So in planning and performing our audit of the financial statements, we considered the district's internal control over financial reporting, and we used our understanding to develop our audit procedures and in order to express opinion on the financial statements. We only gained an understanding of the design and implementation of the controls, and we do not use our understanding and do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of internal controls. As a result of our consideration of internal controls, we're required to communicate any deficiencies that we noted, and we did not have any to communicate this year. There's 3 types that are included on this slide, but since we have no deficiencies to note, there's no point in going over the different types. This slide is basically just kind of a disclaimer that we're required to be independent of the school district throughout the audit, and that requirement is stated in our engagement letter that we signed at the beginning of the audit, and we did not have any issues with independence as we went through our audit for this year. Lastly, the single audit, so the federal awards for the district, we were required to test major programs. The 2 major programs that we tested in the current year were Title I and ESSER 3, and we did not have any findings or significant deficiencies or material weaknesses as a result of our tests of the major federal programs, and we are issuing an unmodified opinion on our financial statements and on the single audit. Okay, so that's basically all I had. Any questions for me?
Anyone have any questions? Looks like we have no questions.
Unfortunately, Webster Rogers has informed us that they are no longer, their management's decided next year they're not doing governmental audits anymore. So we appreciate all that you guys have done. We've been, since I've been here, they've been the auditor, and I think they were here several years before that, but they've been great to work with. I'm not happy that they're not doing our audit next year, but that's okay. I don't think they were too happy either.
No.
Anyway, they've done a great job working with our team.
It's been great working with you guys. I definitely will miss this as an audit client because you guys are one of the better ones for sure.
So we appreciate all that y'all done for us, and they are going to share some of our work papers with us to make our transition easier. And I'm working with a procurement specialist now to see what we have to do to hire a new firm. So, thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Renee, is there anyone in the area that does this? No, I didn't think so.
There's a list of qualified that they have to actually be approved. Sorry, I'm using my teacher voice. They actually have to be approved by the State Department of Education, and so there's a list of qualified firms. But a lot of firms are getting out of governmental audits. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of work, but I have already reached out to at least 8 or 9 of my peers to see who's doing theirs and get some feedback, because there's some firms that are not taking any new clients. They don't have the capacity. So we are looking at what our options are, and we'll be finding someone soon. So it's already mid-January, and a new audit firm would probably come in end of April, beginning of May to get started, because there's a lot of groundwork you have to do when you've never audited somebody. So a lot of interviews, a lot of paperwork, a lot of learning our system. So, but we have already started on that. So we'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Ms. Gobles. Appreciate it. Now we have Ms. Nichols. Dr. Nichols.
I'm this, I'm a doctor. I answer those. No. Okay. Good evening. I'm excited to go over our fall to winter data review. I believe we did this last year using MAP. We have switched from MAP to iReady. iReady measures the skills and grade level standards together, whereas MAP just compared them to other peers like them. So we feel like we're going to get some better data here and some better learning for our students.
Oh, I can't do that.
All right, so I want to start off by saying that Dr. Ferguson has been very clear as he came in, and we started, my team started having these conversations last year in the spring about our strategic plan district goal. We've not completed that yet, but we know that this will be on there. And that is at least 75% of Darlington County students will meet or exceed standards on SC Ready, ELA, and math by 2030. In an effort to do that, here is iReady's levels explained. Just because this is new, I just want to make sure everybody understood what the colors are as we go through. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the 5 placement level. If you see the green with the slashes through it, that's mid or above grade level. Early grade level is green. Yellow is 1 grade level below. Red with no lines is 2 grade levels below. And then we have the students who would be 3 or more grade levels below with the little slashes between it. And so we want to be able to pay special attention to those students. As we look at our K2 reading, iReady from winter to fall, you can see the lighter color is our fall. It's a little hard to see. I know you guys got this beforehand. And then our darker colors is the winter time. So briefly looking at this, I'm going to summarize it in a minute, but you can see what we want to see, which is our red shrinking, our green growing. And so in all 3 of those grade levels with the ELA, we saw some good results and movement. 3rd through 5th, these are our tested grades, and of course this is, we pay special attention here, especially in 3rd grade. You can see there was movement there with the percentages that go across. Same thing for 4th grade and 5th grade. So just looking that we're shrinking the students that are 3 or more grade levels behind and then growing the students on or above grade level. As iReady allows us to look at students, we can do what's called the projected proficiency within this. So this is if the students took the test today. Okay, so that's, we got room to grow because we've got a whole semester, right? But if they took it today, this is where we would stand. Your like darker purple and lighter purple would be meets and exceeds. And so you can quickly kind of look through there. Grade 3, we would have about 53% proficient. Grade 4 would be 61. Grade 5 is 53. Grade 6 is 47. Grade 7 is 58. And grade 8 would be 58%. Again, that's if they took it today and just met their annual growth target. This is an especially, I like this chart here, and Dr. Ferguson liked this chart also because it allows, the quadrant shows up better right here. Okay, so when you look at this, this allows us to look at low performance, low growth, high performance, low growth, and you go to the upper left quadrant, and that is low performance, high growth, high performance, high growth. We want everybody to be above the line, obviously, but we also want them to be into that right quadrant. And we have 2 schools there, and as you can see, we have a lot of schools clustering close to there. So our goal is to get those students over that line. I will be working with principals on Wednesday, talking about how do we get our students who they have high growth, but now we need to get them to high performance. So getting both of those.
And that's really the first step, because if you are coming in with low performance, if you are having high growth, it takes consistent high growth to move children, move those results into that right quadrant. And so it's not where we want to be, but given where we started, this is really good news that we are all high growth here.
Yes. So our summary for our elementary ELA is that 41% of students, K through 5, met their annual growth measure. So they've already met that 1 year's growth. 16% met their stretch growth measure, so a year plus. All grade levels increased the number of students on grade level and reduced the numbers of students 2 to 3 grade levels behind. According to iReady data, students 3 through 5 met their annual growth target. 56% of the students are on track to being meets and exceeds on SC Ready. And we attribute a lot of this to the fact that we have implemented those high-quality instructional materials. The curriculum coaches, the coordinators have been working diligently with teachers and PLCs to really dive in, understand those new materials, and understand the curriculum. And the other one that I put on here is that iReady offers a personalized learning path that helps fill in the gaps for each student. So my gaps could be different than your gaps, and so the personalized learning fits to that. And there's also lessons that the teachers can use in small group to address those skill deficits. And so we've seen a lot of good success with that.
And just, I know that's up here, but to put it in context, what that says is that 4 out of 10 kids in our classrooms have met their 1 year's growth target in half a year. And that nearly 2 out of 10 of those kids have grown more than a year's worth of growth in half a year. And so that is pretty tremendous growth in first semester. Now, we can't take our foot off the gas because we are not yet there where we want to be with achievement. But growth-wise, we are cautiously optimistic about where this could place us at the end of the school year.
Is there any questions about the elementary before I move on? Okay, math is next. Oh. So you got it?
You went a long way.
How did I get there? I promise I didn't hold the clicker down, but it feels like I did. My family would say I did it on purpose. Are there any questions? We're finished now. Everything's great. All right, K2 math. You can see the same trend here. Our kindergarten doing a great job. We don't have any students that are grade level behind right now, which is wonderful. First grade, you also see that we're shrinking some of the red and growing our green, working diligently with those yellow students. And then in second grade, you see the same trend. Third through fifth grade, you have our third graders. You see that there again, same trend here. We see the red shrinking and the green growing, fourth grade and fifth grade. And I'll summarize what those mean in just one moment. The projected proficiency, if you have third graders take it, it would be 61%, fourth, 55, fifth, 43, sixth, 36, 7th, 31, and 8th, 24. You remember those are the areas that we are working diligently with. This is the same chart, but for math, and you can see that we have 2 schools that are in high performance, high growth. We have one student that you will, or one school that you will know is low performance, low growth, and that happens to be our flex alternative programs. However, it is to be noted that in ELA, they were at the very top of low performance to high growth. So very obtainable. 33% of our students, K-5, are met their annual growth measure, 12% met their stretch measure. All students, or all grade levels, increase the number of students on grade level and reduce the numbers of students 2 to 3 grade levels behind. And in my opinion, if we can reduce that, then that means we are getting closer to closing a gap. According to the iReady data, if students in 3rd through 5th met their annual growth target, 53% of students are on track to being meets or exceeds on SC Ready. And again, we attribute that. We have a new math curriculum this year in elementary, and it has been challenging for our teachers to learn, but they have dug in and they're doing the work and using that professional learning community to help backwards design, or unit internalization is what we're calling it, but kind of look at where's the begin with the end in mind with our students.
And kind of, never mind, you're going there.
Okay. All right, iReady, this is our 6th through 8th middle school, fall to winter, and as you see, it is harder as our students get older to close those gaps, but we do see some tremendous growth here of our green students growing and shrinking some of our red students in all 3 areas from, again, the fall to the winter. 60% of 6th through 8th grade students met their annual growth measure, which is tremendous. And to put it in your words, that's 6 out of 10 students. 26% of students met their stretch goal measure. All grade levels increased the number of students on grade level and reduced the number of students 2 to 3 grade levels behind. And according to iReady data, if students 6th through 8th grade met their annual growth, not their stretch, but their annual, 54% of students would be on track for meets or exceeds. And again, we attribute that to our high quality instructional materials in our professional learning communities. And that's for ELA. If y'all remember, we have quite a few checks at Hartsville Middle for that high performance. All right, math, you can see the same thing. It's the same trend. We, district-wide, this has been our trend. We are growing our students on grade level or above, and we are reducing the number of students who are 1 to 2, 3 grade levels behind. I will mention, I did not mention this again, this is also being used with all of our students. So our special ed students are using this, as well as our gen ed students. And so that has helped tremendously, because we're speaking the same language. I promise I hit it once. It really just wants to go to Black Creek's presentation. All right, so 49% of our students, 6th through 8th, met their annual growth. 18% of students met their stretch growth measure in math. All grade levels again increased at grade level and then reduced the number of students 2 to 3 grade levels behind. And according to iReady data, if 6th through 8th grade met their annual growth target, not stretch growth, 30% of students will be on track to meet or exceed. We know we want that number to be 75%. And then again, using those personalized pathways, our middle school principals have done a really good job with the incentives and the competition between each other and trying to get the students involved in that process and engaged.
And y'all too, so that this is the part I was going to say earlier, is when you look at those quadrants, shout out to our middle school teachers and schools, because 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were some of the highest performing in that growth category. So they started off with lower proficiency. So they're in that low achievement quadrant, but they are some of the highest growth in both 6th, 7th, and 8th grade as far as growth. So if they keep up the amount of growth that they've shown first semester, we're going to move that over to high achievement. We've just got to grow our way there. So our middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers, principals, they are doing an awesome job of making sure that our students are growing, half of whom have grown more than a year in a single semester. So shout out to them.
It's amazing. All right, we're moving on to the high school, fall semester high school EOCs. Algebra 1, this is our C or better is our blue, and our D or better is our red. In Algebra 1, we had 2 students take that. I'll explain that in a moment. So we've got kind of a 50-50 there. Biology, and then English 2, and U.S. history. Semester to semester, C or better comparisons of this is last fall, this time if y'all remember me talking to you all, and then to this fall. So you can see there's a slight increase in Algebra 1, Biology, English 2 went down slightly, and U.S. history went up just a tad. And that's for C or better, and here's D or better. So the high school summary is only a handful of students took Algebra 1 due to the order of Algebra 1 and geometry flipping this year, so next year we will have a more robust comparison other than those 2 students. English 2 saw a small drop over last year's fall scores. Doesn't mean that they won't come up in the spring. All other areas saw a slight increase over last fall. They are implementing high-quality instructional materials and working with those secondary coordinators and their coaches to diligently really focus in those areas and provide extra support. That one should have been on there. High-quality instructional materials, and then the professional learning communities, and making sure they're attending those, and they're talking about those common assessments, and where are we at with our students, and how do we accomplish getting all the things. U.S. history is quite a large course, and so is biology, so how do we get all of that material to our students at a high level, and then be able to internalize that. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a quick. And I'm looking, I guess it's the 3 through 8 map iReady. This slide where you have the proficiency where 3rd grade is 61%, all the way down to 8th grade at 20. Why is this, there is just a stair step down as we move up the grades.
I don't have a great answer for that. I can say that I've worked in many places in 2 different states, and that tends to be a trend as you go into middle school. However, I'm sure my middle school principals probably have some reasons that they can address. The curriculum does get harder, and if you are not reading at grade level, obviously it's going to be harder to access the curriculum. I think there's some things that play into factors such as attention, engagement. There's many things that go into those pieces. Dr. Ferguson probably has a better answer than I do, though.
I have thoughts. I don't know if it's a better answer. One is that I think that somewhere along the way, we became so focused on literacy, and we put so much work, time, money, resources in making sure that every child knows how to read. We sometimes have not put the same emphasis on numeracy and making sure that every child can do math at grade level. I think that we see that culturally when we would never say as adults, I'm not a reading person, I don't know how to read, but we often hear adults and children say, I'm not a math person, I don't know how to do math. And so I think we've got to shift that to say that we are all math people, we all can do math, and we just have to make sure that we are providing all of our teachers the professional development time and understanding to be able to do the math and to teach the math. And I think that is one of the reasons that we see some of those lag also in these results, is because we've got to make sure that this change in curriculum for math is not only hard for our children, it's also hard for our teachers, because most folks don't go be a 4th grade teacher because they love math. They do often go to be a 4th grade teacher because they love literacy. And so we've got to make sure we're providing that high quality professional learning for those teachers and educators to equip them, and also not make excuses for, I'm just not a math person, and excuse that. Say, no baby, we're all math people, and we can do that if we're provided the proper supports. But we have not done that for decades, in my opinion.
So I know where we aren't where we want to be, but are you encouraged by some of the data we're getting?
I cannot tell y'all how I was trying not to be like shouting for glory when I saw some of these results. We are cautiously optimistic because it is January and we've got 5 more months of instruction. But if we grow in the next 5 months like we have in the last 5, I think we're going to be very pleased with where we end up, particularly in growth. And if we continue that next year, we're going to be very pleased where we end up in achievement. And so this is just the first few months, and I don't want to claim victory until we are there, but we are making a dent in having very high growth this past semester. So I am very cautiously optimistic about where this will end up if we don't put our foot on the brakes and slow down between now and May.
I also want to say we're giving high-quality professional development to our teachers with the new curriculums as well as already. So it's not just a one and done, like, here you go, here's this program, go do it. This is how you implement it, this is how you use it, this is how you get the best results. So I think that that's encouraging. So yes, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I definitely was smiling as I looked at them.
I made one request. So I would assume that we're going to get the same type of information presented to us at the end of the school year. Can we just, instead of like the grades from now to then, can it just be cumulative, then I think that'll make it. 'cause I
Like
thought-
fall to winter?
No, like the end of this entire year, like the growth from, fall to.
To spring.
Spring.
Yeah, I think I can choose that as a drop down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, because we won't remember some of that growth from, I'd like to see like the whole year. This is a great mid-year update, but,
Yes, ma'am.
so do you understand what I'm
Just
saying?
don't forget that first.
So you're saying that in the mid-year right now, you're reducing the number of students now from 2 to 3 grade levels that were behind?
Yes, we are. So that's again, credit to our administrators, our teachers, buying on and really helping give them tools. The exceptional thing for me for already is that it gives teachers tangible lessons and tools to work with students. It's not just about an online program.
Thank you, middle school.
And this is not easy work.
know it's
It's
not.
January, people are tired, and they just got back from break, and so we have been adamant about excellence. We have been urgent about the timeline, but folks are sticking with us, and the results speak for themselves, that the children aren't broken when they are provided high-quality instruction and have high expectations. They can and will grow academically.
Can you expect that like all of our testing will follow suit? I mean, like everything will start trending?
It's going to take some time, but it should just. We'll see it in growth first, and if we see it in growth consistently, we'll see it in achievement.
Charles.
We wanted to raise a question, and I think a part of the animal in that room is parents. And in order for us to really look at true growth, I think, we got to find a way to bring those parents along. And I think it's more threatening when it comes to math than it is when it comes to ELA. I think that's the real issue. Because I think Matthew is right, that a parent may say, I don't know how to read. Or I know how to read, but I may not know how to do math. They'll admit to the math issue. But we've got to address that issue. Somehow. Now, how we do it, I don't know. But I think that's the only way we're going to see true growth, is if we bring our parents along.
I totally agree. And there's resources within already for parents to help parents with that, to send home to parents. And I do think that the new curriculum, the way it's set up, it's more concrete. It's less, to me, I would have been a better math student had I been taught that more concrete way. But having those conversations with our parents, or also the state has provided us with a learning tool called CERN, and it also helps just watch the video as a parent of how your child is being taught. And I was like, well, gosh, that makes so much more sense to me, being able to see it visually. So we are working to bring that along, and I know our schools, our Title I schools especially, have math nights and literacy nights, and those are some of the things that they're working into those.
And Mr. Govan, to that, like, it is no joke. I'm going to stop saying I'm not a math person, but I was an English major. But I often have to watch a video to help my own children in 6th or 7th grade math, because I haven't done it in a long time. And so to have those resources to say, watch this 2-minute video for how to do this algorithm, how to do this example, is really helpful. And I think we've got to provide parents more of that, so that they have an entry into how we are doing math today, because some of the things that we teach in 7th and 8th grade, many folks in my generation, in your generation, may not have had that until high school.
Correct.
I got a question, Dr. Ferguson. How much do you think the new curriculum has impacted or has had an effect on the schools that are performing below average based on the report cards?
Well, we're going to listen to 2 schools in just a moment, and we can see what they say about that. But I think that these results show that the curriculum is providing consistent on-grade level instruction for children, and they are responding positively to that expectation, because this was not growth we saw this time last year, and there are a lot of variables that go into that, but one important one, I think, is the curriculum, and then it's the support that teachers get to be able to implement that curriculum, because no curriculum teaches itself.
And I just want to comment that I know it may seem a little campy to kind of do the trophies for attendance, but we can't teach the children unless they're sitting in the seats. And so, you know, a shout out to all the principals who are, you know, working to get these students and getting the parents to get their children to school, because you can't teach them if they're not there. So. Any other questions? All right. We'll move on to our underperforming schools. Dr. Ferguson? Or Dr. Nichols going to lead this? Okay.
Okay, the next part of our presentation is it'll be with Ms. Kathy Atkinson, the principal of Black Creek Elementary School, and Ms. Courtney Gerke, the principal of Darlington High. They will present their proposed continuous improvement plan, which is required by the State Department of Education. And these schools have been identified as underperforming based on their below-average school report card ratings. And so both of these principals will take time to kind of go through this. This is a rigorous process. They have to complete. What you see today is this is the small version. They had a very large part that they had to fill out and problem solve with their school teams, looking deep into their data, and then this will coincide with their school improvement plan that goes to the state. Okay, so I'm going to start with Ms. Atkinson.
And while they're coming up, I'd just like to give a shout out too to Ms. Atkinson and Ms. Gerke, because they have worked really hard on these plans. We've gone through several iterations, had a lot of discussion, and I think we are on the right track to improve our results this year, and I think there is positive growth also in these schools' results for this first semester. So thank you, Ms. Atkinson and Ms. Gerke, for your work on this, and we look forward to your presentation, and your PowerPoint should be 2 slides after this. So if you click the clicker, Dr. Nichols will relinquish the clicker.
This will be my clicker. Good evening, I am Kathy Atkinson, principal at Black Creek Elementary. Super proud to be leading such an awesome school. I first want to say Happy School Board Appreciation Month to each of you. I do appreciate what you do for our district, our communities, and for your service, and mostly for caring about children. I will say tonight is not the highlight of my career that I'd like to consider the strong career in the district, 32 years, working on year 33. Dr. Hersey was my principal in elementary school, and I thought about asking her to hold my hand tonight, but I will do that. But I know I've always had her support, and also mentor too. Just to give you an idea of what will be included in the presentation, first we'll talk a little bit about what is in Black Creek, what it looks like now. Then we will look at the data, we'll review and offer our reflections. And then currently I'll be kind of going back to what Dr. Nichols was sharing about our winter already and what we're seeing with results of awesome hard work by my staff. All right. Okay. Of course, as you know, Black Creek is in its first year of operation as an elementary school in Darlington County School District. We have an amazing faculty and staff and support group, and I'm thankful. We have many in the room. Y'all just wave your hands, they're here because they care and they are super dedicated. They have passion, compassion for children. Everyone's working very hard to turn our data around this year. We talk a lot about testing and state testing, and though we do have a population that includes 3-year-olds through 5th grade, you can see there are numbers for SC Ready. According to what we have in the building currently, we have 97 3rd graders, 92 4th graders, and 106 fifth graders with a total enrollment today of 660 students. We are a Title I school, and our poverty index is 88.6%. We do have amazing reading and math intervention support services in our building. We have many of our interventions here this evening. They are offering targeted, data-driven support models. Everything we do is research-based. The district has their hands in the programs that we're using and are very supportive of our intervention program. We have 113 students currently in K-5, not including our preschool population, that receive services through the resource model for their IEPs. We also have 42 students that are gifted and talented and served on campus. All right, now looking at the report card, now this data comes directly from St. John's Elementary's report card from last school year. Due to the large population of students in our building, this is the data that's used to set our baseline data and to reflect as we must grow our students. There is a sense of urgency based on this data. Looking at academic achievement, the numerator, of course, represents what was earned. The denominator tells you how many points. That was for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students meeting and exceeding in ELA and math. Preparing for success was 4th grade science, a major area of concern, and we have things in place that we're working on in our building. Student progress, our other major area of concern, and this is where this part, or both of these areas actually hurt our data, and we are working very hard every day to ensure that these students are showing growth from 3rd to 4th and from 4th to 5th in ELA and math. Our school climate, you see our number here. Unfortunately, there was less than a point, 0.7 of a point if I'm right, in speaking with Dr. Ford, and this is something that Ms. Atkinson is super big on, is promoting a positive school climate and environment where my philosophy is safety, love and acceptance, and growing. And that goes for our adults and our students, because if we don't feel good about where we are, there's no way that we're going to grow. So I promote a positive school climate. I did reflect on the data. I feel like we lost a little bit at St. John's last year based on students. Now consider that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders completing a survey. What I feel like strong data for our staff remain consistent. Our overall rating was a 41, and if you'll see noted below, average ranges from 34 to 41. So, with that being said, my understanding is we were maybe a little less than half a point from maintaining average. Well, I know Dr. Ferguson, average is not good enough, and it wasn't good enough. And now to have gone down to below average is not acceptable, and he has said that in this forum. He has said that publicly, to everyone, and we know that's not acceptable. So, sense of urgency and a lot of hard work is in place because we do love our students and we do want the best for our students. So I will say that this data is ours, it's mine. The report card has my name on it, so we're working hard to do this turnaround. All right. I call these areas on the report card of academic achievement and school climate developing because average is not good enough. But our concern and the urgent need to make some to give our immediate attention and to ensure that we're growing will be with our fourth graders in science and our fourth and fifth graders' growth in ELA and math. However, keep in mind, we are a K-5 school, so we are having to ensure that we are doing things with our littles, with early literacy, our math programs, and our curriculums are consistent. We'll talk about that coming up. But there is a sense of urgency in these two areas to ensure that our report card results are not what they were last year. The next 3 slides coming up will have our goals, our performance goals, and you're going to hear a lot of the same things that Dr. Nichols was sharing with high quality instructional materials. I'm also going to talk about our restructured PLC process that is going very well, and talk about our instructional coaching and professional development. We want to ensure that we're improving instructional practices and accelerating our student learning. Did I lose my clicker? Oh, you have it now, okay. All right. First goal has to do with the resources, and as I said, Dr. Nichols has shared a lot about the expectations for high quality instructional materials. Our goal is for by the end of the year that all of our teachers, 100% of our teachers, will fully implement and consistently use the high quality instructional materials and digital resources aligned to their grade level and subject areas. We have ways here listed that we're going to measure through looking at teachers' lesson plans, doing classroom observations, checklists for implementation. And the first 3 bullets here are all the curriculum that you have been hearing about that were approved by the district and by the school board. And that would be the Sabbath, the iReady for math that we just implemented this year, and UFly Phonics. Also, we're going to provide ongoing professional development, and that is through district and school level, and that has been enhanced tremendously this year through time and resources. We're ensuring that all of our assessments are aligned and standards-based, and we're constantly at home, at school, constantly looking at our students' data. The iReady has been super helpful in getting more specific data to progress monitor our students this year. Also, of course, we have our classroom observations, again, our feedback, and we're doing coaching cycles that are personalized based on teachers' needs. All right, continuing with resources. Again, our PLC process has been revised. We have worked with district officials and at our school level to ensure that our PLC framework is consistent and strong. We're doing 2 sessions per week, and that takes a little toll on our building. For our teachers to be 2 days of their planning is from beginning to end, working very hard on looking at student data, looking at student assessments, completing lesson internalizations. It's a cycle. So we're looking at data, we're preparing for lessons, using our standards, using what we see. When we come together and look at assessments, we're bringing back the student work and reflecting it as a cycle. So we're working super hard. The building's covered. We have to cover for unencumbered lunches. We have a lot of teachers, but everyone understands the sense of urgency, and are working hard to cover so that we can have ongoing professional development constantly and consistently. All right. The next slide will move into performance goal number 2, and this is in the area of ELA. And as you can see outlined in our goal, we have specific goals by grade level as it correlates with the data on the school report card for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Again, I won't go through each bullet. You've got the curriculum that we're using. And again, we're super glad to have the iReady personalized instruction for reading. We're growth monitoring. We have, again, restructured our PLC process. We're participating in all professional development sessions that we can, supported by the district. We do have an MTSS facilitator, and I could go into a little more detail, but I am trying to watch my pacing. But we're working real hard to ensure that all students that need support interventions, that are not working on grade level, are responding to Tier 1 instruction, that we're offering Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. Just today, we started with 2 opportunities to participate in tutoring. Once is a program that will touch our early childhood population. We have 10 students that will begin working with an interventionist through this program this week. And we're super glad to have that. And varsity tutoring, we're going to be taking advantage of this program, 40 students, 4th and 5th grade, for reading and math instruction. All right, looking at the data chart, as you've heard Dr. Ferguson and Dr. Nichols say, we feel good about the results. I am using his words over and over, cautiously optimistic. Where Ms. Atkinson wants to get a little excited at school sometimes looking at data, I'm cautiously optimistic, but excited about what we're seeing. And if we continue, we're going to turn it around, and I feel really strongly that we will. If you look, you see the green arrows, the numbers in the middle represent what we just did right before winter break. You know, the first column shares where we started when they first took the assessment in August. And then you see our goals. If we continue on the projected path, we will meet our goals in ELA. Math. Similar structure here to this slide. You've got the goals for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in math.
Ms. Atkinson, can you go back just one slide for just 1 second?
Sure.
I want to point something out interesting in your data.
I hope it's good.
It is. But notice in 3rd grade how if we meet growth targets, we go from 44 to 59. And then you look at 4th grade, 61 to 61, and then you look at 5th grade, 48 to 57, there's not that jump. And what I think that tells me is that there are a lot of children who likely are in a couple grade levels below, and so their projected growth is not going to put them over that meets or exceeds line. So you're continuing to grow children to make up for deficits, but you're not quite able to grow them enough in 6 months to move them from approaches to meets. And so that's just an interesting, because I was sitting here thinking, why is it 61 for 4th grade? Like, can't we do any better than that? But that is why, because it looks like you have children who are on that bubble piece, and so that growth, and so it's just interesting in why that growth shows up first in growth before it shows up in achievement. So that consistency over time will move that number even higher. So good work to be able to move that the way that it is. It's just an interesting piece of that.
I met with the 40 students today that started varsity today. I wanted to kind of give them an explanation, and I wanted it to be, you're here for a good reason, and truly are bubble students. We talk all about bubbles and bubbling over and blowing bubbles after and when we have success, and you know, but yes, I think that's a very good point. And all right, math. Okay, we'll just look at the data chart because our, the bulleted areas are very similar to ELA. Math, we're possibly not seeing consistently high, the growth is a little lower probably, but we feel strongly that we can meet our goals if we continue as we are now.
And Ms. Atkinson, what that also looks like is you have a lot of children who are on that approaches level, and so a little bit of growth, it's not a little bit, consistent growth in second semester like you saw in first semester are going to have very big differences as far as the percentage of children who are meets or exceeds, because if I can fill in some of those gaps, it goes from 4 in 10 kids meeting standard to 6 in 10 meeting standards pretty consistently. So they're really close. We just have to give them enough instruction, enough growth to push them across that line.
Okay. All right, as I said, of course, you know, we serve a population of students from 3-year-olds through 5th grade. It's wonderful to watch students from kindergarten to 5th grade, have your hands on those students as they consistently move throughout the population of students. We always want to ensure that we're giving attention across the board to our students as they learn and grow. This data chart will show you what our kindergarten through 2nd grade combined, an average from the August test to the ones we get right before our holiday, and then our 3rd through 5th in reading, first chart. So we saw growth. And then the second chart will show you what we see in math based on those grade level bands. Kindergarten through 2nd went from 4% meeting and exceeding to 37% meeting and exceeding. In math and 3rd through 5th, 12% to 36%. All right, noted over to the right, I do have bright spots. I feel really good about where our coaches and leadership team have our PLCs. They're super focused, very consistent, very hardworking, standards-based, continuously talking about implementation of high-quality instructional materials. Rigorous assessments are in place, and we are constantly watching the data through progress monitoring. The personalized learning paths, we're working hard to ensure that we are monitoring, making sure that all students are able to work on their path for reading and for math. The MTSS process, having that facilitator, has helped us tremendously in ensuring that we are targeting that population of students who needs the extra support and how we can best serve them. And finally, another bright spot I'd like to share, over 25% growth across the board, by average in reading and math. So what's next for us? Okay, everything is with intentionality and a sense of urgency every day. We have coaching cycles to support teachers, looking at areas of concern with delivery of instruction, strengthen small group instruction. We're making sure that when we pull students into those small groups that we're looking at areas of concern, areas of weakness, so that we can target their specific needs. We're going to continue to monitor student progress consistently and continuously through data analysis and reflections. I want to thank Dr. Ford and Dr. Sweeney. They're in the room. They've been super supportive throughout this process, and of course Dr. Nichols, Dr. Ferguson, as we have been forced to, and I say forced, this has been a growing process for us in being very, like, super reflective. We've also unified teams in a positive way. I feel really good about the faculty and staff at Black Creek and how we have come together in the best interest of children every single day. And the climate is very positive. We're working hard. Our teachers and staff are working super hard, and they are to be commended for the growth that we are seeing. But I couldn't ask for a better administrative leadership team and group of teachers and staff to be in this fight with us to turn our data around.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Atkinson?
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Darlington High School will present Bryson next, which is
You just sing loud.
Not gonna sing, but I'm not So, like Ms. Atkinson, I am not real thrilled to be standing up here for this reason tonight. I am always happy to talk about Darlington High School and how far we are coming, but we have a long way to go. And I want to assure you that I have no intention of standing before you again next year for the same presentation. I do want to say I've got a lot of my leadership team here with me, and they have really been a huge part of the process. Every Thursday, we get together as a team that is the assistant principals and our coordinating teachers. We pull in others as needed for that. And we are really focused on making sure that we are moving every day in the right direction for each and every child. And so, you know, our young people are our next leaders in Darlington County. And so their success has to happen for all of Darlington County. And so we are educating and empowering our students to be those responsible citizens every single day. And that's what this data is really about, just making sure that our kids are being set up for success in their future. So I wanted you to be able to see the different areas for the report cards. The high school report cards are very different from the elementary report cards. So we have a few more categories, so I'll go through those. You can see the 24 report card scores for each category there, and then in bold the 2025. So our first section is academic achievement. This area on the high school report card looks specifically at English 2 EOC scores and Algebra 1 EOC scores. So while you can see that we did see some growth in that area overall, not enough growth, not where we want to be still, but we're moving in the right direction from the year before. Preparing for success looks specifically at the EOCs for Biology 1 and for U.S. history. And again, saw some positive growth out of 10 points for that, but we still have a long way to go. So those two specific areas we're going to talk a lot more about. We do not have a large enough population at Darlington High School to have points for the English learners, English learner student progress. That would be for our ESOL students. So we don't have enough percentage of that in our population to count for those scores. That doesn't count. Our school climate is at a 5 points, so that score to average both years, very similar scores. Our graduation rate, we also saw improvement in that last year, and so we went from 13.41 out of 24 points up to 14.36. So that trend is moving in the right direction. And then college and career readiness, we did see a little decrease in that last year from the year before. That is looking specifically at our kids walking out the door, not only as graduates, but ready for college or career, whatever their next step is. And there's a lot of ways they can hit those categories. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through our goals. For high school student success, a little bit of increase there. This category has changed over the last couple of years, so it was added 2 years ago, and then it keeps adding cohorts to it. So this is specifically looking at our kids passing the classes that they need to promote from 9th grade to 10th, from 10th to 11th, 11th to 12th. And it also even looks at our kids' 5th year. So after they graduate, if they weren't college or career ready or they didn't have a high school diploma, did they get it the next year? So it looks at 5 years of students, and it's kind of added a cohort each year as we go. So we went from 47 below average to 48, so we saw 1 point overall growth, but definitely not where we want to be. So our category for below average is 40 to 50. So we'll go to the next slide. So based on that, I will say that we were average in 4 of the categories, school climate, graduation rate, high school success, and college and career readiness. But we definitely have major opportunities for growth in 2 of the biggest categories, honestly, and that is the academic achievement and preparing for success. So our goals are going to be specifically looking at student academic achievement, specifically for those EOCs. So our first performance goal, we do have a goal in there for resource and equity, and it's to ensure that all students have equitable access to instructional programs, support services, and those college and career readiness opportunities. We're looking at that through participation data, student feedback, resource audits. So, why did this all say 1? Oh, those are each of my goals, but for some reason it changed them all to 1s. So that first goal, we'll go through a little bit. Then our second goal is to increase our English 2 EOC from 51.23% C or better. So on the high school report cards, there's no measurement for growth. It's met or didn't meet. It's C or higher or doesn't meet. So we don't get the points for growth on there. It has to be, are they a C or better? Okay. So we want to grow from 51.23 to 60% C or better. You can see I've included the district average and the state average from last year, so we definitely want to be approaching those. For our next goal, increase from 37.2 on math for when. And I need to explain this goal a little bit. So this year, we don't have kids taking the Algebra 1 EOC, but we wanted to make sure we kept a focus on math growth. So we'll talk a little bit about what we're looking at for the math portion for when this year. And then we want to go from 21.3 to 31% C or better on biology. Again, that would get us up to the district average and approaching that state average. And then increase from 26.3 to 36% C or better on US history, getting us at that district average and approaching state. So we want to make sure we're improving across each of our EOCs. So some continued practices, we did see some growth last year and some things we contributed that to. We wanted to make sure we kept some things in place and things that weren't working we wanted to change. So some of the things we're continuing at Darlington High School every day, we have 30 minutes of in-school tutoring. We are at an 88.1% poverty rate. A lot of our students ride the bus, don't have other transportation, so we've got to fit that tutoring time into the school day when they're already there with us. So if you do not have an 80 or better in your class, so today was Monday, we went back to first period because it was Monday, and for right now, because we don't have a lot of grades in this quarter, everybody stayed. But next week, if our kids are being good and we have the grades in, they will get extended lunch if they have an A or a B. But the kids who don't in first period on Monday will stay for that full 30 minutes of small group tutoring time on Tuesday, 2nd, Wednesday, 3rd. So we have that built into the day. We saw some improvement to our pass rates last year across the classes, and that helped with part of our report card. So we're continuing that. We are continuing common planning. So all of my English teachers have the same planning, same for each of my subject areas. And we have weekly PLCs that a member of the leadership team and a coordinating teacher are always part of, so that we can dig into that data every single week with consistency to make sure we are altering lessons and identifying the students who need more instructional interventions. We also have mentors in place for our at-risk students. So we have just under 960 kids right now. So at the end of the first semester, we looked, for example, at who are our 10% most at-risk students, who has more than 3 or more referrals, plus some attendance issues, or attendance issues plus they failed some classes, or they failed some classes plus discipline. We've got that 10%, and they are ours, so we share them. So we have a clear list. here is our kid, this is where they're struggling. What adult on this campus is going to take weekly responsibility for them? So I have 10 of those kids, they are mine. They know they're mine. I'm gonna check in with you weekly. I'm gonna look at your grades. I'm gonna find out where you're struggling and what you need help with. I'm gonna talk to you about good job showing up today. I'm gonna call your parent and give them good news and let them know what's going on. And so each of us have taken on our kids, and that includes our mentors. So I have a mentor on campus that focuses on kids under 16 and a mentor over 16, so that we can also look at the ones for truancy. So we are really focused on those individual kids. We also want to make sure we're engaging our students in programs that connect school to work or to college or to military, depending on their pathway, because it's really about the individual kid and what's next for them. So we have our JAG program, which is a grant program that helps kids have career explorations and develops that leadership. Our ROTC program, early college, and then our DCIT and internships, making sure that each of our kids have a pathway. And then we also, once a week on Fridays, when we don't go back for tutoring because we've already hit the other 4 classes, we school-wide have 8 to 10 WIND test questions. That could be based on math, science, reading, a combination. But everybody in that school, no matter what grade level, you're working on that test prep that's all about making sure you're ready for whatever career you're going into. So those math skills that the community have let us know are really important skills to be able to go into those next jobs. That might be a question on there. And so the kids work on that, and they get those reviews each week. But what we're doing new, because 1 point of growth is not enough where we're sitting right now. So we are doing some new things. So this year, we had an outside team come in August. They looked for our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. So they did a walkthrough, visited every single classroom, and they came through and gave us direct feedback on what they were seeing. And those resulting steps were there were 2 key areas we really needed to hit hard this year. And so that was on academic discourse, making sure that our students could write or verbally speak that academic language about their learning, so that we could verbally or written see their thinking and how they were learning the material. And then the other piece was student engagement. So we have then brought that team back in. They have done incredible PD with our staff. In October, we brought them in to focus on the academic discourse strategies, and actually January 5th, they came in and worked with us on student engagement. So today, when I was walking through classrooms, and I walked through some rooms, I was able to walk back to Mr. Martin and say, hey, just as I was walking through, saw these great student engagement strategies happening in these rooms, didn't see it happening here, go back in and visit, see what you're seeing so that you guys can talk about it in PLC, so that we can really stay focused there on making sure that we're getting that student engagement and discourse. The other new piece is we were really excited that we get to have iReady too. So we know it's focused for elementary and middle, but the way we are using it at Darlington High, 30% of my student population has an IEP or a 504. It's a huge percentage. So all of our students that are in exceptional ed, they are actually working on iReady in those classes for reading and math. And when I'm looking at my report card percentages, that is my subgroup that really needs the most growth, right? So it is allowing them to have that individualized instruction, starting them where they are and moving them forward. And then for high intensity tutoring, we actually started today with biology. So if January 1st had been the last day of the school year, for the category, the academic achievement category, we would have been sitting at an 11.71. So I took our EOC scores, we would have 11.7, which would move that category up to average. Still want to keep going, want to be good, but that would move that up. But where we're still seeing some lack is that U.S. history and biology. And so those are the 2 areas that we have targeted with our varsity tutoring group. So today, about 50 kids had access to varsity tutoring that are currently in biology. And then they will go back again tomorrow. So they have about 35-minute sessions a week. And then our U.S. history kids will have about 50 go in on Wednesday and Thursday morning. So we are specifically targeting those bubble students to move them forward. So as we keep going through this, we are also making sure for our WIN testing. So because we don't have Algebra 1 EOC this year, we wanted to make sure we kept a focus on math. And to do that, we set a goal for our WIN testing. So WIN has multiple categories as science, as reading, as writing, it has math. And when we look at our scores, math is where our kids are struggling the most. And so we are really focused on that. We started out with some small group sessions, pull-out sessions, before they redid that portion of the test in October. And we saw 27 more kids meet out of the senior class that had not met the year before. So we still need 25 more kids to meet this goal. We need 25 more of our seniors to pass the math portion of WIN. We have strategically placed them in a math class second semester that is going to focus on those math work skills so that they will be ready to use those in their chosen career fields. And that should in turn show on the CCR status of the report card. So they're getting the skills they need for work life, and they're getting the skills they need to do well on that test. And then for our curriculum adjustments for social studies, so we have completely revamped the order of classes also for social studies. So all of our 9th and 10th graders this year for Darlington High are in modern world history, and they are getting some focus on those future U.S. history skills they're going to need. And then the next year they will go into U.S. government, which is not something we've been doing across the board prior years, and then they will take U.S. history. So we should see that continued growth over the next several years. And then one thing we are really excited about, so Darlington High is at an 88.1% poverty rate. We are the highest poverty rate of the high schools in the district, and when you look across the state, we're like top 10% of highest poverty rate of all high schools in the state. So we are really, really thankful that we have been identified to go back to being a Title I school, a funded Title I school for next year. So we are doing our comprehensive needs assessment so that next year we are very clear on utilizing those funds to help every single one of our students to the best of their ability and making sure we're good stewards of that money coming in. So again, while we saw growth in almost every area, it wasn't enough. And we're not satisfied with below average, and quite honestly, not satisfied with average. Our people are better than that. Our kids deserve better than that. And so we have set the following pieces in place to make sure that we have, we're showing that on the report card this year too. So again, that iReady for exceptional ed, that altered curriculum pathways, the individual tutoring, and that focus on each and every child every day, and that student engagement and academic discourse. Questions?
Anyone have any questions? All right, sounds like it. Thank you so much.
We do need to vote on that.
I don't think.
Vote on.
The person was reminding me that we need to vote on these improvement plans that were presented to us. So I'll take a motion to approve the plans as presented to us. I can second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, Dr. Ferguson, you want to give us?
I just want to say this though. So I'm so impressed with like the growth of the kids that were 2 to 3 grades behind. Because for years we've been told it would take years to catch those kids up, years to catch them up, and we did it in 6 months.
Not all of them, but some.
Some of them.
Yes.
Every move is important.
Thank Thank
You can
you.
pitch one of
Thank
them
you,
up.
Miss Kelly, for that comment.
Look at me talking about curriculum.
Look at that.
All right. y'all.
Welcome to the club.
I know. It's getting on your bandwagon.
I know I have, y'all have been very patient tonight, and I appreciate that. I have a relatively short update, but I have 2 videos. And so the first video that I'm going to share with you tonight is highlighting our mechanical design program at DCIT. This video showcases our students who are engaged in rigorous real-world learning. And I think it demonstrates how we were talking at our legislative dinner about how not only is our district a choice for families, it is often the best choice for our families, and it helps prepare our students for college, career, and life beyond graduation. These sort of classes that we're going to highlight here, you can't get anywhere else, and what we offer at Darlington County Institute of Technology is truly world-class. And then the second is a very short highlight of our state superintendent's visit to Darlington County to be able to visit some of our schools. So I want to share those with you, and then I have some quick updates. So let's... Maybe. It looks like it's playing, but it's not.
Engineering is kind of the gateway to everything. It's the think part of the whole design process. Nothing just shows up. It has to be designed. It has to be created. It has to be made. And this class, it can involve every facet of that. Mechanical design has levels 1 and level 2. Level 1, we learn manual drawing, we learn AutoCAD and start in Inventor. AutoCAD's a 2D drawing platform. Inventor is full 3D modeling. At level 2, we do get into more architecture and things of that nature. We are looking at how things work, why they do what they do, lots of blueprint reading, creating of blueprints, measuring, and hopefully building some products.
I think planning is very important. You have to make sure all your measurements are right. You have to make sure everything gets into place, everything makes sense together. There's so many different ways to build things and just be creative with it. There's really no limit to what you're doing.
Students out of my program can go in many directions. They can go to your technical school, 4 years of engineering. They could go straight to a plant with this background and have some blueprint reading, maintenance.
I'm an engineer and tech at RBC Bearings. I do a lot of tooling designs for different grinders and hardness machines, things like that. I do a lot of quality work to help out with production. I've been at RBC Bearings for 3 years. My first year I worked in quality while I was going to college, and then after I graduated I got picked up by the engineering department. Mechanical design class helped a lot with the drawings and how you need to place things. So you need a front view, your left view, your top view. Had it not been for those classes, I probably would have went into it blind, and learning that stuff here really helped me now because I know where stuff needs to go on my print, how it needs to be laid out and formatted. I really like what I do. I hope to progress in engineering and kind of climb the ladder like you would do in any manufacturing plant.
The first step's the idea, whether it is by the individual creating the drawing or maybe it's someone else's idea and they need the drafter to create the drawing, but it all starts with an idea. It's just neat to see what's in your mind come to life, from paper to standing in the world and use how it's meant to be used.
In the engineering trade and in the mechanical world, a lot of the times you're making new things, in a way inventing them. What you are doing is something new that hasn't really been done before.
I'm very grateful I got into this class. I like that we do blueprints in here, which gets me a lot into the architecture world, which is what I want to go into. I think it's a really interesting class, and I really like the teacher and the environment here. I think I wouldn't have this much fun in any other class.
I'm very thankful I got to start here. If it wasn't for DCIT, I'd have went into college completely lost. I might not have known some of the things that I know now when I'm at work. I might would still be in a much deeper learning process than what I'm at now.
The biggest thing I want students to have when they leave me is critical thinking and troubleshooting, curiosity. Why do things work? How do things work? How can I make them better? That's really the backstop for everything we have here.
Foosball table keeps showing up in the shot is because those children designed that and then build it, and it's a functioning, working foosball table that was a class project of the students in that classroom. To our legislators on Monday night, we really have some world-class programs that are models for the state, and it's great to be able to showcase them to folks when they come into Darlington County. I've got one more slide for y'all so that y'all know what I'm talking about. This is not work for me today. So these are really kind of short updates, but I want to make sure y'all know that all of this is going on. The very first is that we are currently receiving magnet applications, and so those applications are live, and they are up through January 23rd, so that gives parents the opportunity and families the choice to apply for our magnet programs across the state. And so if you have an 8th grader who is interested in going to the early college, to IB, or to Mayo Magnet, or to Lamar's Biomedical, now is the time to apply. If you have children, families who are interested in the Montessori program, those applications are now live and will remain open through January 23rd. So now's the time to start making some choices for next year for families. And so if you know of anyone who's interested, please have them apply through January 23rd. Want to also make sure that you are aware that we are continuing to celebrate student success. So next week we will be sending out the emails to all the students in quarter 2 who received perfect attendance and all A's. And while we are wrapping up that data collection right now, we will have nearly 800 all A letters that will go out to parents and families next week, congratulating them on their child earning that recognition. And more than 1,200 students will likely receive, we're finalizing that data, but they are on track to receive their perfect attendance for quarter 2. So I'm really excited about that. And it was really neat to see some of those show up on social media and the parents really excited about their child being celebrated. So those will go out next week. Ms. Gerke mentioned professional development, but really proud of our start back to this semester on January 5th with professional development for all of our teachers. I know sometimes teachers would love the opportunity to come back and run copies and get ready and kind of breathe, but y'all, we are not going to see the kind of growth that we have seen in that first semester if we are taking our feet off the gas. And so what we were able to do on that January 5th was, one, start the morning with school professional development, talking through that unit internalization, talking through collaboration within the building. We spent the afternoon collaborating across the district so that those teachers could come together and work. And that's really important in some of our small schools, because if I'm Lamar, for example, Lamar High School has one biology teacher, may have one U.S. history teacher. And so for those teams to come together from across the district to collaborate and really think intentionally about those instructional materials and prepare for providing excellence in teaching and learning for each child every day, those moments are really important and intentional investments in our teachers' development. Dr. Nichols does a great job of providing survey feedback, and we are gathering that and will be responsive to what our teachers say, but overwhelmingly right now the responses from those surveys are positive and said that the time may not be what they wanted to do, but were useful and helped them prepare for that second semester. It was also mentioned several times today, but we kicked off this week the high-intensity tutoring projects, and so Darlington County was able to write a grant, and we received over $270,000 in state funds to fund high-intensity tutoring programs within our districts. And so those include the ONCE program, which is a focus on early literacy, Varsity Tutors, which really is some one-on-one tutoring virtually with a tutor. Usually those tutors are high school kids, or not high school kids, college kids, young adults, and they are monitored by the adult in the building in our schools, but also the company provides some monitoring of that, and have seen really good results in other districts. We have over 800 students who are benefiting from that grant funding in those programs, and what that also allows us to do is, before I come to you in budget and say, I want to provide this program, we ask the state to pay for it in a pilot, we look at the results, and so when we make that recommendation to you, we're doing it based on data that is in Darlington County, and look at the results of those programs. So excited about that kicking off this week. And then it's really hard to believe that we are talking about next school year, but in the coming weeks, we are also going to roll out early registration for 4K and 5K for next year as families begin to make decisions and plans for their 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and where they will be attending next year. We wanted to go ahead and get that out early so that parents had some certainty around that, to really do a good job promoting that, because we have space in our excellent high-quality early childhood classrooms, and so we'll be providing that in the coming weeks. And then last but not least, I know Mr. Jeffords loves to ask about our vacancies, but we will be having a district-wide jobs fair on Saturday, January the 31st at Mayo High School from 9 to 12, I think, 9 to 12 o'clock, and we'll be promoting all positions within the district, so that includes bus drivers, custodians, maintenance, certified teachers, guidance counselors. We will be doing all of those positions on that January 31st on a Saturday, and so I wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of that. It's from 9 to 12. If you know of anyone looking to work for the best district in South Carolina, show up on that Saturday. All of our principals and representatives from schools, from our various departments, will be on site that day to talk to those folks and tell them all the great things happening in Darlington County. And
Did you know that when you agreed to come back?
No, but I'm excited about it.
so that concludes my report tonight. So thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Ferguson? If not, we'll move on to board member input. Ms. Foster, do you want to start? Mr. Jeffords?
I'd like to thank all the schools for our goodie bag. Appreciate it. I'd like to welcome Dr. Hersey back. Looking forward to working with you. How are our vacancies today?
I knew you would ask that question. I have not forgotten that in 5 years. That's always favorite.
Well, we actually have 13 vacancies for the current school year. But in all honesty, we have 719 teaching positions, and within the 719, there's a teacher in every classroom, but 62 of those are non-certified personnel. So we know we have a way to go. Some of those are on the verge of receiving their letter of notification, which means that they would be, quote, certified in light of the State Department. But we're also analyzing our allocations, the positions that we have in light of student enrollment. We could very well have a reduction in the number of positions that we need, which would narrow the number of vacancies. If you just ask, where do we have 13 vacancies. For next year, because we have letters of intent out, we have 6 vacancies for next year. But that will increase or fluctuate as we get letters of intent and then as we move through the contract process. But it's exciting to take a look at allocations, even though our numbers have stabilized, to take a look at the actual positions so that we can get clarity on those things. And we're working hard on the number of those, to get those certifications in order. So it's an exciting time. And we still need to have that job fair, so that's a good thing.
And I cannot say how thankful I am to have Dr. Hersey back. She hit the ground running on day one and was working on those allocation sheets and looking at certification and thinking about allocations for next year, just like she was doing it last month. She did not lose a beat. And I was not sure she'd come back on Tuesday or Wednesday, but she has, and she's even back this week. So thank you, Dr. Hersey.
We're glad to have you back.
I'd simply say, I told Dr. Ferguson and everybody, I said, I felt like I stepped into a wind tunnel. I wasn't sure I was going to have hair on my head when I finished my first day, but everybody's been so kind, and we have I'm excited about the progress that you see for your kids, that you see the academic progress. I'm excited about the team. You know, whether it's at the school level, people are working hard. We're on the right things. We have the right focus. And we're very fortunate to have the leader at the helm, be Dr. Ferguson. So that's probably the one person that could talk me into coming back, but that's it.
Mr. Gus?
Two things. Number one, I want to thank the principals, administrators for the gifts that were given to us tonight. Secondly, I want to thank Audrey and Dr. Ferguson for following through and nominating a company to get the Champion for Education Award. If somebody said earlier, well, they said earlier that this is my 25th year. For probably the last 15 years, I have been asking to do this. And the reason I asked to do it is because you have a lot of industry, a lot of partners in this district who make it possible to do what you were just talking about having had done that we never recognized. And the reason we don't do it is because we don't submit the application. And it's not just Darlington County. There are 72 school districts. We only got maybe 6 or 7 that do it on a regular basis. Last year when I was president, I went to 5 school districts and one of them 3 times. Because they're the only ones who continuously do this. And I thank you for doing it. Only thing I will say is please keep it up. And the last thing I want to do is ask the consideration of the all-A banquet. I've had a couple of parents ask me about that. You know, we used to do an all-A banquet. And we stopped doing it when COVID came along. And I'm not sure where we are because of the flu situation. But I think it's something we might want to think about doing in the future. That's it.
Ms. Correa?
I don't have anything to add.
Ms. Gordon?
I'm gonna keep it short tonight. I just think we're off to a very good start for January. I was very proud of the information that I received on tonight and seeing the growth and the progress and the vision and the enthusiasm that everyone is doing for their schools. And I thank the principals for their presentation. I think both of the presentations were very good, and I like the fact that they was just spot on and knowing what needs to be done, and they have the team there to help them get it done, and I appreciate that. And I also want to congratulate everybody that got awarded tonight, and I also have the same sentiment of Mr. Govan about this company and thanking them for what they do for public education. Thank you for a very good audit report. Ms. Douglas, you're always true to form, and I thank also all the schools that recognized the board on tonight and was so kind enough to give us little gifts of appreciation and love, and I really thank you all for that. Thank you, Dr. Ferguson, for your vision, and thank you all of us that work together to make the school board a great board. Thank you.
Just kind of some of the same stuff to repeat. First of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
We'll never be there.
No, we won't.
25 years is a long time.
It is.
Yeah.
To do this. So congratulations on that. Thank you for all our goodies. We hadn't had a chance to go through them all yet, but I'm excited to do that tonight. Y'all, we don't deserve the recognition. It's really y'all, but we appreciate the sentiment. And I also don't think that we pay enough attention to how much work it is for you to do this audit, Renee. I mean, because it just comes out, everything's good every year, we just kind of take it for granted. So thank you also for that. And also for Ms. Atkinson and Ms. Gerke. I know that was a lot of work to put all that together, and it's not something fun to do, but you both came forward with humility and excitement and plans to get things back on track, so we just really appreciate that. That's it.
I'd like to say, Dr. Hersey, welcome back.
I already told her that, though, too.
I mean, I just want to add on to those that have done that. I mean, I appreciate you stepping up in this transition role for us, and I mean, and stepping up as if you haven't missed a step. So we greatly appreciate you for doing that. Audrey and our communications team, thank y'all so much for telling our story. I think this board has talked over and over and over about how we just need to tell our story. And these little short videos tell our story. And, you know, as Dr. Ferguson said at the legislative meeting the other night, I mean, we are not scared of school choice because we think Darlington County is the best choice. And it's things like this that tell our story to show our parents and our families what a great choice that being in our school district is and what it provides for us. So thank you very much for the communications team for stepping up and doing those for us. I appreciate it. And then finally, I'd just like to say it was just a very productive meeting last Monday night with our legislators. It's a great opportunity for them to sit down and hear, you know, hear from the grassroots, hear from us what, you know, our struggles and what happens when they pass things in Columbia and pass it on to us, kind of what the implications of that are. And so keeping that dialogue open and keeping that communication is just very important. And so I am very, very thankful that we have started that that annual meeting back up, because I think it's very informative for us and it's also very informative to them. So thank them for their time, because I'm sure they've got lots of things on their plate heading into the legislative session, but we greatly appreciate that. And that's all I have.
I also meant to thank Dr. Nichols for pulling all that information together and explaining it in a way that like we can understand it. I told Dr. Ferguson, y'all must have all spent like a whole semester in school learning about all that. It's just very confusing for somebody on the outside.
That's right.
Leanne is now talking about curriculum. So
time in the meeting.
I mean, what?
Yes.
So,
it won't last.
And
because it's just too much. It's too complicated for my brain to understand. And that's why y'all do that and I don't. So thank you.
But that's why you work at Duke Power.
That's right.
And on behalf of the board, thank you for all the gifts. As I said, Leanne said, we have not had time to go through them all, but thank you for us. And so now I'll give it to you, Dr. Ferguson.
Now I think we.
Oh, yeah, no, I take one step back. We need to do personnel actions.
Thank you.
Can we get a motion to approve our personnel actions?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And it looks like we have an executive session on the thing. So I'll take a motion to go into executive session.
So I make a motion we move into executive session
Second.
to discuss personnel issues and contractual matters.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into executive session. We need to take that picture of them.
Rhonda brought it up when she first got to be chair.
I'll take a motion to come out of executive session.
Come on, executive session.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're out of executive session. No actions were taken, no votes were taken. And I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I get a second?
Thank
All in favor?
We go.
We're adjourned.
Who was gonna watch that game?
For you all who that food is for,